a dart at it.
See me.
Call this meeting to order. If we can rise in for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Trustee Kenwood will lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Can I have a roll call, please?
President McGinley,
Present?
Trustee Enright,
Here.
Trustee Facilis,
Here.
Trustee Kenwood,
Here.
Trustee Ladisek,
Here.
Trustee Pride,
Here.
Trustee Senek.
Here.
All right, thank you. We are going to begin with village recognition. Our village clerk will announce, we have a member from the board of District 41. Oh, they sent the email. Yes, go ahead.
A board member from the state school district 41 sent an email to compliment Street and Forestry Superintendent Jen Brown and Forestry Crew Leader Max Brown for their contribution of time and how great they were with the children during a second grade PBL at Manor Woods.
That's awesome. Thank you. And for those who do not know PBLs, you must not have children at District 41. Item number 2, the village would like to thank the following commissioners for their service.
Chairman Eric Ford of the Finance Commission, Commissioner Catherine Meagle of the Environmental Commission, Commissioner Dennis Fisher of the Historic Preservation Commission, Commissioner Eleanor Salomonis of the Historic Preservation Commission, Commissioner Christine Wilson of the Historic Preservation Commission, Commissioner David Allen of the Plan Commission, Commissioner Jeff Gerling of the Plan Commission, Commissioner Lionel Whiston of the Plan Commission, Commissioner Les Chandler of the Recreation Commission, Student Commissioner Irene Marchese of the Architectural Review Commission.
Thank you, everyone, for your services. And next, the village board and management team congratulate the following employees who recently celebrated the anniversary as a village employee.
Michael Morangi, Planning and Develop, 40 years. Rick Perez, Police, 30 years. William Homer, Police, 25 years. Paul Baird, Police, 20 years. Mike Ziska, Public Works, 20 years. Reed Chandler, Public Works, 15 years. Lisa Ebergini, Finance, 15 years. Jody Heffler, Administration, 15 years. Bill Keel, Planning and Development, 15 years. Jacqueline Beese, Police, 10 years. Heidi Carr, Planning and Development, 10 years. Irene Litko, Police, 10 years. Christina Coyle, Finance, 5 years. Michael Jagodzinski, Police, 5 years. Michael Nichols, Public Works, 5 years.
That's fabulous. Thank you, everybody. Next, we will move to audience participation. First up, we have 4th of July Committee Representative Jim Raisins will present information on exciting events planned in Glen Ellen to celebrate the Independence Day this year.
Exciting
Welcome.
events are expecting a lot then, I guess. Well, then I do bring exciting news. The high quality of activities that the village residents have come to expect are scheduled again this year. Like a lot of things in Glen Ellen, Independence Day celebration is based on tradition. We will have traditional activities with a little twist here and there this year. So, the Park District will stage its traditional events, the Cardboard Boat Regatta, the Freedom 4 Run, and the activities after the parade at Lake Ellen. And the all-volunteer 4th of July Committee will present its traditional events, the picnic in the park, the parade, and the best fireworks display in the area. I'm here to update the trustees about the all-volunteer committee portion of our celebration. On Saturday, July 1st, during the Cardboard Boat Regatta, the committee will continue building on a new tradition that was actually started last year. The food truck picnic in the park is returning. Last year we had 6 trucks. The response from the residents and guests that attended said it was fantastic. So this year, we're increasing the variety of food that's going to be available. by adding several new trucks to our culinary mix. A portion of the proceeds received by the trucks goes to the 4th of July Committee to help cover its expenses for the parade and fireworks. On Tuesday, the 4th, the parade will step off at noon, and just as it started last year, we'll begin at Crescent Boulevard at Beaster Gym. We'll proceed west on Crescent to Main Street, north on Main to Linden, and then to Lake Ellen. We're going to have some old favorites as well as some new participants this year that should be some real crowd pleasers. And finally, at dusk on July 4th, the committee will present the Gala fireworks display. We try to improve this show every year, and longtime spectators have figured out that one of the traditions of the fireworks display in Glen Ellen is what we kind of refer to as the faux finale that's in the middle of the show. You know, the sky is lit up, and people who have never been there before said, "Oh, short show, but it was good." Short pause, and then the second half of the show starts. So that's one of the traditions we like to stick with. Boat dock seating is available through our Boomer Booster program, and I encourage everyone to go to the Glen Ellen the website for the 4th of July Committee. That's Glen Ellen, the number 4th, 4thofjuly.org. The events coordinated by the all-volunteer committee wouldn't be possible without the assistance of Glenbard High School District 87, the staff of the Park District, the village through financial support, and staff support through the Police Department and Public Works Department. And of course, the residents, businesses, and organizations who provide financial support. 90% of the amounts the committee receives to cover the costs come from residents, organizations, and businesses. And it's through that generosity that we're able to continue this tradition in Glen Ellen, and we're truly grateful for that support. But a successful celebration depends on more than financial support. Committee planning begins in the throes of winter each year and continues through the day of the events. We had 4 new volunteers join our committee this year, which is great news. These members have blended with committee old-timers like myself to learn what it takes to plan, fund, and stage the events. The new committee members have also brought some good ideas to the committee. We have a couple of committee members with us tonight. I'd like to introduce them. We have Natalie Jager, Amy Keating, and our Chief of Police, Phil Norton, who's been serving on the 4th of July Committee as a volunteer for longer than I can remember, a heck of a long time. When he had hair, I don't know. Even with the hard work the committee members do, community volunteers are still needed on the day of the 4th to assist in the parade staging areas and along the parade route. Again, if anyone's interested, go to the website for the Glen Ellen 4th of July Committee. This year, the all-volunteer committee has worked extremely hard to produce the kind of events that residents have come to expect. In the future, it's important to remember, though, that community expectations requires community responsibility. Volunteers are needed to serve on the committee next year to help plan next year's celebration. This year's committee is truly dedicated to a quality 4th of July celebration filled with the traditions that residents and their guests have come to enjoy. We have the highest expectations for the celebration this year. As much as we look upon our role as a labor of love, I think I can speak for the whole committee when I say that the one date that we all look forward to even more than the 4th of July is the 5th of July, when it's over. Oh, by the way, the theme this year for the parade is 4th of July, flags flying high. 4th of July, flags flying high. And so, just so no one forgets, the committee is going to give everybody who's here tonight a flag to fly high and wave proudly during the 4th of July parade. The committee wants to thank the village, the trustees, President McGinley, for the support that's been provided, and we hope to see all of you on the 1st and the 4th.
These are mine.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Here you go.
Thank you very much. And you're still in need for volunteers this year?
Absolutely.
All right. And what was the name of your website again?
www.glenellen, the number 4th of July.org.
Great, thank you so much. Very excited for events this year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Karen Gustafson of Nicor Gas will provide an update on the current project in Glen Ellen to modernize the system that delivers natural gas safely and reliably to our neighborhoods.
That step gets everybody.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll just, it'll be fine. It'll be just fine. Good evening. As she said, my name is Karen Gustafson, Manager of Community Relations and Economic Development for Nicor Gas. And with me tonight too is Laura Higdon. She is the supervisor for our work project that we're doing in the village of Glen Ellen. And I just wanted to do a really quick slideshow just to explain to you what we're doing. It's called Investing in Illinois is the name of our project. It's a 9-year project, ongoing, and it's to upgrade our infrastructure throughout all of our footprint in northern Illinois. If you didn't know, Nicor Gas is now a part of Southern Company. We are the second largest second largest utility company in the United States, second to Exelon now. So Exelon's still a little bit larger than us, but Southern Company Gas is right up there with them. So we were bought out in July. AGL Resources was our latest name, and before that we were Nicor Gas. So we're still Nicor Gas, we're just a part of Southern Company now. We have 34,000 mile gas distribution system. We're the largest natural gas distribution company in Illinois. We have 17,000 square miles of service area, 2.2 million customers just in Illinois, and 650 communities that we serve. So if you can think of it this way, Southern Company Gas, there are 9 million gas customers across the U.S. at all of our different spots, but Illinois has 2.2 million. So we're a very large part of the Southern Gas Company. So what is investing in Illinois? Nicor Gas is increasing the level of infrastructure improvements on its system. The Natural Gas Consumer Safety and Reliability Act is the law that allows us to make certain infrastructure enhancements, and it's a multi-year program, and it began in 2015. So what that means is that every single person on their bill is going to see that line item that says Safety and Reliability Act with a charge there. Usually it's under $2 per month, but whether or not we're in your community, you're still being charged that on your bill. So it's kind of nice, I like to say it's a win-win, that we are actually in your community because you are, benefiting from the Investing in Illinois program. So the infrastructure enhancements include replacing hundreds of miles of aging natural gas pipeline, replacing storage systems to help us supplement natural gas supplies in the winter, refurbishing stations that regulate natural gas pressure. It does benefit our company, the customers, and the communities we serve by upgrading that infrastructure, improving customer convenience, reducing the need for future repairs, and enhancing capacity. So hopefully once we're done in your community, it will make it a lot more reliable. We won't have to do as many repairs. We won't be here as often. So it's a little bit uncomfortable right now, but once we're done, hopefully it'll all be for the best. Let's see. Additionally, we anticipate the infrastructure improvements throughout our territory will support new business development, increased business activity, job creation, as we have an expanded need for employees, contractors, vendors, and suppliers. And that's true across the board for Nicor Gas right now. If a property is going to be affected by our modernization efforts, we will contact the customers, letters and newsletters. Laura handed to the council our newsletter that went out to all of the residents, and she's going to talk just real briefly about that. We also utilize door hangers, yard flags, and we also talk to many businesses and homeowners face to face. Our employees and contractors wear identification badges. I purposely kept mine on, so you can see what it looks like. Every single person should be able to identify themselves while they're out in your community. The qualified infrastructure charge we talked about. The amounts billed are filed monthly with the Illinois Commerce Commission, and they're very regulated.
So everything that's on there is down to the penny, exactly how much we spent, and then that's, recovered on the rider. And that's what you see on your bill. Those are just other examples of investing in Illinois information. And we're proud to be investing in Illinois. So I really want to introduce Laura a little bit better. So she manages the contractor NPL that's going to be working in your community. And she's been in communication with the Public Works Department in the village to make sure that the communication is flowing properly, that if there are issues or problems that we're handling them. So I'm going to just kind of let her give an overview of the project.
My name's Laura Hayden. I'm the construction superintendent for
You
this
have to use
job.
the microphone.
Go to the mic.
Sorry. I'm the construction superintendent for Nicor Gas in this area. And we had met with Mr. Dauber, Mr. Buckley over a year ago to start talking about this work, what you see in front of you there. Just to make sure that we touch every base and account, and basically put the village's mind at ease to say that we're thinking of everything. What work you plan on doing, who this is gonna be impacting and such. So we've been in contact, we've been working with each other for a while. But where it's at now, this project is that these customers, everyone that's affected, received this newsletter in the mail to them probably 3 weeks ago. And on that newsletter, it describes the different phases of this work. From the preliminary non-destruct work in terms of camera spotting and camera work, and basically finding a new place for that meter to the outside of the building, house. And we're moving into the actual construction itself. We started on Roosevelt Road, hit a speed bump, so we're moving our contractors over to Sunset. But that route is communicated to the village. Every Monday morning, we try to send out an email giving that route, that information, so if customers call, they can answer to it, or actually send that call over to us, to Nicor Gas. So, but the thing is with the communication is we understand, as I'm sure you do, that you can mail out whatever you want, but unless somebody reads it. So what we try to do is we try to saturate that social media with on our own website. We have this newsletter and other information there, but also we utilize the village's newspaper website, so that we try to touch them as many times as we can. Granted, we're not always going to reach every single person, but they can always call in, or they can always stop in our utility inspector, our supervisor in the field, and ask them questions as well. Everyone has, like Karen had said, everyone has a badge. So with this work, in particular this work, we'll probably be out there for quite a while. We're putting in over 16,000 feet of gas main. We're going to be impacting over 330 customers. And that means running the new gas main service to that house, and also moving that meter, providing them with a new meter to the outside. And then following it behind it, when it makes sense, all the landscape paving restoration. We want to make sure that we get the landscape paving work done this year, before we go into winter, before probably October 1st. But that program, this could be accelerated too. So I know that's kind of in a nutshell.
No, I only wanted to add one thing, and that is that it's been really great working with the Public Works Department. Dave and Rich have been awesome. And in fact, we really collaborated quite a bit on the piece of collateral that went out to the residents. We had it, our normal way, and we did some enhancements to make it a little more specific at their suggestion. So we've been trying to really work well in terms of this being a team effort.
Right.
Well, thank you. Are there any questions?
I have just one.
Sure.
Do the new meters that you're installing have satellite capacity or the ability for satellite reading of those? And Al, you might be able to help me out. We were talking about this at the last meeting, satellite.
Yeah, I think you're talking about AMI.
Okay,
We
sure.
don't currently have AMI. So we have meter readers that go out still and do it physically. We do have some plans in the works for Nicor Gas to move to that at some point, but we don't have any definitive
Right.
timeline on that. So
All right.
I have a question. Are you just installing mains and reconnecting? I thought I also heard you're replacing services from the main to the meter?
Yes.
At all of the homes in this location?
The 328 homes that are affected.
Okay.
And as Karen had noted, part of this work here is what we call as an uprate. Right now, the system in this area runs at a 25-pound system. We're uprating where it makes sense to a 60-pound, where we're leaving say it's a 1995 main, which is fairly new in the utility industry. We're uprating that to a 60-pound. So after a lot of analysis and investigation, we're able to do that and combine it with the new system, a polyethylene, a PE system, for a 60-pound system. So it's a half and half. Those customers that are on that steel main are going to remain. There's no new service, no new meter. It's only the ones that have from the new main, new meter, new service.
Okay. And then, are you open cutting this to every house?
No, we're directional boring.
Okay.
95% of the time, we're going to be directional boring, not just our main, but our services as well.
Okay.
You're going to see potholes in the street,
Right.
the parkway, because we do not allow our contractors what they call blind bore, basically go past another underground facilities without exposing it. So we make sure that we see it come past it and come back.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Well, thank you so much for coming tonight. It was
Thank
very,
you.
Yes,
very nice.
thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, next we have open to the public. If there's anyone signed up, clerk, do we have?
Nobody has signed up.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience that wish to make a comment on something that is not on the agenda for tonight? Okay, seeing none, I will move on to the consent agenda. Manager Franz.
Yes, thank you. These items are on the consent agenda tonight, items 1 through 10. Item 1, May 22nd, regular village board meeting minutes. Item 2, total expenditures, including payroll and vouchers, totaling $3,494,768.26. The vouchers have been reviewed by Trustee Enright and myself prior to this meeting and are consistent with the village's purchasing policy. Item 3 is approve the recommendation of Village President Diane McGinley that the following appointments and reappointments for various commissions. Building Board of Appeals Chair James Ryan and James McGinley, no relation, for a term ending May 31st, 2018 and May 31st, 2020 respectively. Capital Improvements Commission Chair Michael Lane, Michael Colliander, and Adam Bigham for various terms. Finance Commission, Christopher Oakes for a term ending May 31st, 2020. Plan Commission, Saeed Mohammed for a term ending May 31st, 2020. And Recreation Commission, Tim O'Shea for a term ending May 31st, 2020. Item 4, resolution updating the tax increment financing and economic incentive guidelines. Item 5, approve a facade improvement award for $5,000 to Blonde Boutique LLC at 494 North Main Street. More on that in a minute. Item 6, ordinance to amend the liquor control code to decrease the number of permitted A1, B8, and C4 liquor licenses. Item 7, ordinance to amend the Chapter 19 of the Liquor Control Code to add a Class G outdoor sale liquor license. Item 8, ordinance to amend the Liquor Control Code, creating a new class, a Class B9 liquor license classification. Item 9, ordinance to amend the village code to reduce the number of members consisting of the Plan Commission from 11 to 9 members. And item 10, an ordinance to amend a section of the code regarding parking in a municipal parking lot, the Civic Center, which is changing the Civic Center to a 3-hour parking restriction once the police department is officially moved out. That completes the consent agenda.
Okay, before we move on, I apologize, I did not catch this ahead of time, but in item 3, for Plan Commission, it's Mohammed Saeed. Mohammed is the first name, and it's Mohammed. That's okay, I just want to make sure it's right for our records.
My fault.
Okay, that is the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that anyone would like to be pulled out? Okay, are there any questions on any items on the consent agenda from the trustees? Okay, are there any questions from the public on any item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, may we have a motion? It's gonna call roll call.
I motion pass the consent agenda.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Enright,
Yes.
Trustee Kenwood,
Yes.
Trustee Fasulis,
Yes.
Trustee Ladisek,
Yes.
Trustee Pride,
Yes.
Trustee Senek,
Aye.
Thank you. Now, in the consent agenda, we did just approve a facade improvement award to Blonde Boutique. We have the owner here, so first of all, congratulations. And did you want to step up and introduce yourself and say anything?
Unfortunately,
We're very excited you're here.
My sister, my business partner, just left with the kids. We were afraid they would not participate very well in this meeting. But my name's Allison Olander, and my sister and I, Natalie Smith, she is actually the fashion guru of the two. I actually was a science teacher, so I am the push and along for the ride and doing all the boring back end. But we have had this idea for a long time, thus being a very Scandinavian family. We've been known as the Blonde Girls. We always have been known about our hair, so that was just kind of the historical meaning behind our name, but everyone is obviously welcome there. It's just a family affair. But this started a couple years ago when I went to a pop-up shop and I realized that Natalie would be amazing at doing her own store. She's been working for a buyer for a few different very successful boutiques in the area. And I really wanted to see her venture out on her own. She is my younger sister, so acting as her older. And it kind of came over overnight, thanks to Meredith, that we gave her a call, told her what we were interested in doing, and she found us the perfect location where Paisley used to be, and right next to Marche. And we've had a blast. We started May 1st. We opened up today. We are $1,000 over our goal. It was an amazing day. I can't even believe the amount of people that came in and the support from the community. And we are thrilled to be there. So with the facade, we're hoping to improve, have new windows, increase them in height as far as increase them in the door, bird on a wire and Marche kind of have that look that we want with the transom window. Just kind of opening up the store, bringing in more light and just making it new. So we are excited to do that and we thank you.
Thank you. What are your business hours?
10 to 6 as of now. We are going to be open 7 days a week. Feel it out, see how it works. For instance, we were told to close Monday, and today was amazing, so we were so glad that we were open. We are going to do 10 to 5 on Sunday and on Saturday and 11 to 4 on Sunday. So for now, we'll be open every day 10 to 6, see how it goes, and go from there.
Wonderful. Well, good luck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, moving on to item G, an incentive request for Glen Ellen Brewing LLC, presented by our Economic Development Coordinator.
Close out of this. Oh, this will start coming back up? No, it's okay.
Thank you. Just a little background and update. In November, Glen Ellen Brewing came to the village board for some incentive requests for their new endeavor at 486 Pennsylvania Avenue. The former Schmid Pharmacy, it's been closed for a number of years and has sat vacant for quite some time. And they were taking ownership of it to put in a brewery and a restaurant. Restaurant first, brewery in addition to, where they'll serve their beer there as well as do some small distribution. So in November, the village board awarded them $15,000 for an interior award and $15,000 for a facade award. Now, this is a major undertaking of a building that has been vacant and dormant for a number of years. And as they continue, they now own the building and are going through, they've gutted it. I believe all the, most of the trustees have had a chance to see the building. It's got some good bones, but it still needs a lot of work. One of the things that they're doing as well is putting in a sprinkler system for the entire facility as well. May 15th, they came to a village board workshop meeting and discussed their financial gap that they were still having, even with the assistance that the board has already generously given them, and if there was a way that they could do some type of sales tax rebate with the village in order to meet that gap. A couple of things were discussed then, and they're laid out in the proposal here. One is that the sprinkler, the fire prevention assistance program previously only allowed for, if you were doing interior award, you would not be eligible for the fire assistance program. And the village board at the workshop had said, you know, sometimes there's cases, obviously we want to try and roll those costs together, but when they're this large of a project, take a look at it and see if there's an opportunity for them to apply for both. And the village board had asked for us to bring this back with a $15,000 fire assistance award. And then the remaining of their gap, $105,000 in a sales tax rebate incentive, where the onus would be on the developer to do really, really well in a bang-up business to bring in those sales tax dollars in order to reap the benefits at the end. And so attached to the memo is the outline that we had discussed at that workshop meeting, where once they're up and running, the first $15,000 of sales tax that comes to the village will stay with the village in our funds. Any amount over the $15,000 will be split 25% to the village and 75% to the developer. This will last over 10 years or until they reach $105,000, and then it will close. The projections that are outlined in the attachment based on the projections that they have for their business model show them meeting that in 6 years. So we're hopeful that they'll get there even sooner because it's going to be fantastic. So before you is an incentive agreement for a sales tax rebate of $105,000 and a fire prevention award of $15,000.
Thank you. Are there any questions by the board?
I have a
Okay,
couple questions. I'm sorry.
No, that's-
Well, I guess one might go to Greg. The licensing for the wholesale distribution of that, was that one of the licenses that we approved
Yes.
this evening, or is that something that we still need to work on?
We have approved the new classification, which allows for both restaurant and brewery, which wholesales beer.
B9, so it's
Okay.
on this agenda.
And then the second question is the retail sales tax. I was starting to read through the agreement, but it was too many legalese for me. But are we going to capture retail sales tax on the bulk distribution of?
Not on, no, there is no retail sales tax on wholesale.
Distribution.
Thank you. If some of that bulk distribution is distributed to local sellers, then they would resell and you would get the retail sales tax on that. But to the extent that there is wholesale distribution that goes outside of the village, we will not see a sales tax on that.
This sales tax rebate is based on the restaurant and beer sold within their facility.
But John, you are going to produce, you're going to sell kegs. I think you talked about how many kegs.
Correct.
We're gonna sell some kegs. The primary thing for us is to sell all this stuff, as much of it as possible, at the location, and then try to get it out. We wanna do some canning, a small amount of canning, and get that out to the local liquor stores too. We wanna keep it as local as possible. It makes a lot more sense for us to do it that way. But I'd say 80% of all the beer we produce will be served in the facility.
Stacy, are you aware from, I don't know, maybe in Woodridge, I think that was, I don't know if you had anything down there, or any other staff in the room of any other, because these microbreweries are fairly new, but it seems like we're missing out on some potential, sales tax revenue for a manufacturer to come in and, in this case, a brewery to manufacture a product and then ship it out the door and then not capture any sales tax revenue on that.
No.
Aren't they
There's
exempt
no
if you're
way.
doing it wholesale?
Yeah.
There's no.
Yeah, because they're not the final
Well, that's
seller.
what I'm asking.
They're not the
They
final
pay-
seller, they're gonna sell to somebody who's gonna serve it, and that's when you capture the sales tax. I think the product that he was gonna sell, you said, are you gonna sell kegs? That would be a retail transaction.
But if
With
it's
kegs. But if
B2B wholesale, there's no
If
tax.
it's B2B, if they're gonna, if they're gonna sell to the Village Links or Fire and Wine, that transaction is not taxed. But the distribution from the end seller is what you get the sales tax on, correct?
Yes, and
Yes.
that's, And I was just asking our village attorney here to clarify what that is, a sales, what did you say, a Department of Revenue law? If you will.
Department of Revenue sets up classifications for transfers of property, distribution of property, and wholesale classification. And actually, the finance director might correct me if I'm wrong, because she's had direct communication with the Department of Revenue. Those are exempt. Actual wholesalers are exempt from retail sales tax.
Right.
Okay, well, I mean, and obviously if that changes with the Illinois Department of Revenue or some other federal
we
law,
will gladly.
that we're gonna, obviously, we're gonna have to do it, you know?
Right.
But it just seems, again, these are, some of this is in its infancy, and I guess we'll see how it goes.
That's a good point. Any other questions?
I don't have a question. I just want to reinforce a couple things here because some people notified me there was an article that was written about this. So, the purpose for this is it's not that we're giving money away to start a business. It's a sales tax incentive. We're expecting them to do a minimum of $750,000, which is where we will collect all our taxes on, which is a very reasonable amount, and then give them an incentive around sales tax up to a cap. Sooner they get it, the cap is over, and then this is a very nice revenue generating business for us, and it's also one of the larger projects that we've had downtown in a while in terms of restoring or remodeling a building that hasn't been touched in a very, very long time. So I just want to make sure that was clear, that this is not just a handout, so to speak. It's a sales tax incentive.
Good points. Any other comments? Are there any comments from the public? No? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion, please?
Madam President, you may, find my glasses, approve a fire, I make a motion to approve a fire prevention system award in the amount of $15,000 and a performance-based sales tax rebate agreement in the amount of $105,000 with Glen Ellen Brewing LLC to be located at 486 Pennsylvania Avenue.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Ladisek,
Yes.
Trustee Senek,
Aye.
Trustee Pride,
Aye.
Trustee Kenwood,
Yes.
Trustee Facilis,
Yes.
Trustee Enright.
Yes.
Thank
Great,
you.
motion passes. So, great, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you open. And is your estimated open date still Halloween?
That's what we're hoping.
Okay, you are on record.
No.
Twice.
All right, well, we're excited. Moving on to item H, 2017 Utility and Roadway Improvement Project presented by a professional engineer.
Thank you. Good evening, President McGinley and members of the board. I'm pleased to present for your consideration this evening staff recommendations for the award of a construction contract and construction engineering service agreement for the Montclair East Davis Smith Turner Utility and Roadway Improvements Project. A location map for the project was provided within your packets and is presented on the monitors. The project involves the combination of drainage, utility, and roadway improvements involving approximately 3,700 feet of streets in the village, including Montclair between Turner and Hill, east between Fairview and High, Davis Terrace from Linden to the south end, Smith Street from May to Spring, and Turner Avenue from Montclair to Taylor. Work on Turner Avenue is going to be more of a resurfacing type of effort. There'll be spot curb and gutter and sidewalk replacement, adjustment of utility structures, some sidewalk repairs. But essentially, as far as the roadway improvements, they will be limited to milling and resurfacing of the roadway. The work on Montclair, East, Davis, and Smith is going to involve more extensive underground utility improvements, including sanitary sewer main and service line replacement, water main and service line replacement, storm sewer improvements, and all of the underground improvements will be followed by complete reconstruction of the roadways with new concrete curb and gutter and asphalt pavement. In terms of the bidding process, the project was advertised for bid in the Daily Herald. 6 bid proposals were received and publicly opened. On June 1st, the low, responsible, and responsive bid was received by John Neary Construction Company of Addison, Illinois, in the amount of $2,979,127. In terms of the bids, they were fairly tight. The bids ranged hovering approximately around $3.1 million. That was the engineer's estimate as well. So we felt that we received extremely favorable bids for the project. In terms of the construction schedule, if approved this evening, construction is anticipated to commence after the July 4th holiday, with completion of the paving work specified for early November. Completion of restoration and punch list items would be allowed to be completed by November 17th. In terms of construction oversight for the project, we are proposing that the project is overseen by a consultant engineering firm. A request for proposals was distributed to 15 engineering firms. We received 9 proposals for the project. They were evaluated on our standard criteria, including firm information, or firm experience, project team qualifications, ability to staff the project and meet deadlines, and completeness of project approach, additional tasks, and the fixed and not to exceed prices. Based on those factors, staff identified Edwin Hancock Engineering as the best and most favorable consultant for the assignment. And as such, we recommend a fixed price agreement in the amount of $125,000 for construction oversight. In terms of budget for the project, sufficient funds have been provided for both construction and engineering of the project. The project fulfills the village's strategic issue number 5, investing in infrastructure, goal number 3, which is for successfully managing the 2017 roadway and sidewalk construction project by December 1st. This completes my presentation for the project. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Just summarizing, staff is recommending the award of the construction contract to John Neary Construction Company and construction engineering services to Edwin Hancock Engineering. Thank you.
Do we have questions from the trustees?
I have one. Can you just describe what you mean by construction oversight and how that function sort of interfaces with the village staff?
Absolutely. For this type of it's traditional for this type of a project that there's a full-time resident engineer that is overseeing the project. That involves making sure that the improvements are constructed in accordance with the contract requirements. The plans and the specifications are very detailed, and the contractors do need direction from a consulting engineer that's on site, just ensuring that the village is getting all the value out of the project. A lot of the assignments of the RE is interacting with the public, documenting the work. There's standard procedures in terms of documenting quantities, measuring quantities, filling out daily reports, reviewing. There's a multitude of documents that could get submitted for pay estimates, waivers of lien, certified payrolls. The RE is responsible for making sure that all the documentation is in place. The resident engineer also puts together what's called a as-built set of drawings. In other words, the drawings that we approve for construction do not necessarily represent what is constructed in the field. There may be minor changes, and the RE is responsible for documenting all those and putting them into an as-built set of drawings. On a weekly basis, typically speaking, staff meets with the resident engineer and the contractor. We have weekly progress meetings for a project of this sort. And so we're making sure that we are overseeing what the RE is doing on a weekly basis. If there's time-sensitive types of things or weeks in which the project maybe needs a little bit more oversight, we do interact a little bit more frequently with the RE. Staff has a significant involvement in utility shutdowns, turning off the water mains, so we do provide notifications. Staff also does provide a monthly update to all the residents. A lot of that is based on the input that's provided during the weekly progress meetings. So that's really, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of how staff is involved with the project and how the RE is involved with overseeing construction.
Are there projects in which the staff provides construction oversight?
We actually have in the past. When I started here in 2015, I did the construction oversight for a similar project. On more of our maintenance type of projects, we are doing some oversight. As of recent, we've had some pretty high-profile projects, and so our engineering staff has really been involved with administering more of some of the bigger projects that we've had recently, just because of staff resources. However, we're constantly, looking for projects in which we can, function as the RE. But just to provide a little bit of input on that too, when I was the RE on the project in 2015, I think I started here, I was here for a couple of weeks and right away hit the ground running. I was the RE and I was fully dedicated to that project, essentially from, I think I started on March 30th and that went through November. So it's a significant amount of time that one person does get committed to a project, and that, you know, that takes away your ability to manage other projects that are maybe being designed or overseen by consultants.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment that, you know, the value to the village in having a resident engineer. I mean, this is streets and sewers. When you're done, you can't see it. So when it goes down, you need to have someone on site looking at it
Oh, I agree
daily
with
and almost inspecting, you know, every single aspect of the dig, because once they cover it up, there's no opportunity to go back and inspect it like we do in the building department. So there's tremendous value doing it, and I think there's also value in having that be an outside contractor, that we're not having to dedicate our staff to be on site and not managing the rest of the aspect of the village. So.
Good point.
And we do find a lot of, you know, mistakes even with the best of contractors, you know, and we're very diligent and thorough with that process. So I would echo that there's a lot of value on a day-to-day basis in things that we do direct the contractor to rectify.
So sorry, you know, just one thing. I thought you said a number of 2 million, and in our packet here it says 3 million for the project. Did you say 2 million?
$2,979,000. That was the base bid, and then we do recommend a 3% contingency.
Oh, I see.
So that brings the award amount up.
Any other questions? Okay, any questions from the public? No? Okay, before we ask for a motion, our village attorney has an amendment.
Well, each motion is really, it was intended to be drafted as a motion to authorize the village manager to execute a construction contract with John Neary, et cetera. And you can do, Trustee Kenwood, if you choose, you can do both of those together into one motion.
Okay. I've got the amended motion here.
Oh, you
Then
do?
you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, I provided it to him. So.
Well
done. Well done.
Awesome, thank you. Then may I have a motion, please?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the village manager to execute a contract with John Neary Construction Company Incorporated of Addison, Illinois, in the amount of $3,068,501, including a 3% contingency for construction of the Montclair East Davis Smith Turner utility and roadway improvements projects to be expensed to the capital project sanitary sewer and water funds, and a motion to authorize the village manager to execute an agreement with Edwin Hancock Engineering Company of Westchester, Illinois, in the total fixed price amount of $125,000 for construction engineering services for the Montclair East Davis Smith Turner utility and roadway improvements project to be expensed to the capital project sanitary sewer and water funds.
Fabulous. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Trustee Pride, may I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Kenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Pride.
Aye.
Trustee Enright.
Yes.
Trustee Fasulis.
Yes.
Trustee Ladisek.
Yes.
Trustee Senek.
Aye.
Great, motion passes. Thank you very much for all your hard work on that. And we move into reminders.
Yes, next week's workshop meeting has been canceled, so our next village board meeting is scheduled for Monday, June 26th at 7 p.m. right here in the Galligan Boardroom of the Civic Center.
Fantastic. Is there any other business? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
Motion to close this meeting.
Sure.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I can do that.
That would be a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Motion to
that's
adjourn.
right.
Sorry.
You didn't stop that. Thank